Hello.
We just wanted to do a video. Some people requested us for us to do a video on like how we met. Like we've talked about it a little, but I guess y'all wanted to know a little more in depth, like, you know, from the beginning until now. So do you want to start with the very beginning?
Very beginning goes a little like this. From my point of view anyways, we used to go to a church together when I was probably 15 or 16 and you were what, 13 maybe? 14?
14.
Yeah. And we were pretty much in very separate cliques. When I say very, I mean
What was your social status?
I was like the skater punk, you know?
Greasy hair,
The skater
gross. I was like, you know, back then cool was like American Eagle, Aeropostale, Abercrombie and Fitch, and like a monogrammed purse.
Yeah.
That was me.
And so we were in very separate cliques, and we did not mesh. And so one day our youth group went on a church trip, and we had to ride a bus for about 2.5 hours. And she's told me 1,000 times how she thought I was just so annoying.
I saw him. I'd never seen him before. And we were on the bus. We went to Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone was sitting down. And you know how some people will like walk, you know, like in the aisle of the bus and stuff and talk to people? Like the entire time we were on our way there, he was standing up. He stood the entire time that we went.
I had a lot of friends.
That we were driving. And I kept saying to my friends, and I was one of those people who would like, I still am one of those people who will just say things out loud so the other person will hear me, you know, so it's like, so I was like, gosh, here's this guy who won't shut up, and you know, like hoping he would hear me and stuff. So that was Michael, and that's the very first time I ever saw him.
As we kind of grew up, we remained in separate cliques. In the same kind of cliques as well. And then one of my best friends worked with her. And I kind of kept hearing different stories about it. Not anything bad, not anything good. I just, you know, he was pretty much had a big crush on her, to be honest. Always, you know, heard about her and all this stuff.
I was hanging out with a guy I had never hung out before, like, never hung out with before, just as a friend. And he was friends with him, and I guess they went to the same church. And Michael was at a radio station, and the guy I was with, he went into the coffee shop right next to the radio station, and he asked me, did I want anything to drink or did I want to go in? And I was like, I am not going in there. That Michael Tomlin guy's in there. I hate him. And I just could not stand him. So I would not even get out of the car and go near the radio station because that's how much I couldn't stand Michael.
And see, the thing is, I saw her in the car with my friend, and you know, I waved at him, and you know, she was just kind of like on her cell phone, looking, you know, doing her thing. And you know, I thought, man, that's weird that they're hanging out. You know, like that's weird.
Yeah. Now to think of it, I'm like, I can't even believe I hung out with that person.
Yeah.
That was weird.
But anyways, so that happens, and we keep going. Okay. We finally. At some point in time, we became friends on Facebook, and she messaged me because one of her friends, whom it was just a mutual friend of ours.
She was like my best friend my entire life.
And she and I had just become good friends. And so she messaged me one day at work, and she was like, don't you go to church with her? And I was like, yeah, I do. And she was like, well, tell her that, you know, I've been thinking about her, and I miss her, and, you know, that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, anytime, you know. And so I tell her that happens, and the girl tells me, like, you need to really be praying for her, because I really want her to come to church with me.
Everyone would always beg me. I mean, I was in church. I wasn't like a bad kid or anything, but everyone had always begged me to go to this church. Like his mutual friend that we had that I worked with, the guy that I hung out with, Katie was my friend. Anyways, they would always ask me to come there, and I was like, I'm not going to that church, because the church that we went to when we lived in Florence was like a really big, you know, jumping, shouting, screaming praising the Lord kind of church, and it just made me like nervous. But, you know, if you've never been to a church like that, it's kind of like, whoa now. So I would never go. So everyone was always begging me to go, and I wouldn't go.
Well, so a few weeks after she messaged me, she showed up at church, and my friend that she worked with was like, dude, she's gonna be coming to church, you know, you've got to say something to her, you got to be nice to her, you know, like, I really want her to like the church. And I was like, okay. And then her friend as well was like, you gotta say something to her, you know, make her feel welcome. I was like, okay, I'll make her feel welcome. You know, I was an intern at the church, so, you know, it was kind of my job to like talk to new people.
And he's not shy at all anyways. Keep in mind, he never has a problem coming up with something to say to somebody, or, you know, that kind of thing. I
can just carry on a conversation with anyone. So, church starts, whatever. We had a good service, and then at the end of the service, after it was over, they were like, hey, Michael, come here. And I was like, okay. So I come over there, and in the most awkward, I stood there. It was her and her friend.
My other best friend, Katie.
Yeah, and I was just standing there, just standing there, awkward.
He literally walked up to the circle of people I was with, looked at us, just stood there like on the outside of the circle for like 1 minute, then just turned around and walked away.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what to say to Whitney Archer. What am I supposed to say?
That was my old last name.
Yes, that was her maiden
name.
Whitney
Archer.
Yeah, I was like, what am I supposed to say to Whitney Archer? I was like, this girl hates me. I think she's stuck up. What am I supposed to say to a girl who's stuck up? Like, hello. And so that night...
No, backtrack a little. That's what he was thinking while we were at church. That he didn't know what to say to me because we hated each other and all this stuff. But me, the whole time we were at church... See, he had just recently gotten his haircut. He used to have like longer hair, and he had just gotten his haircut, so it was like short.
Longer than this.
And it was summer, so he was like tan. And the entire time that we were in church, I was like just staring at him because I was like, oh my gosh, he is so hot. Like I don't know, like, you know, it wasn't like love at first sight because I was still like, oh, that's Michael Tomlin. That's a little awkward because I never liked him before. But I knew that something was different. Like that time that I saw him in church, I just knew something was different. I mean, I didn't know we were going to get married or even date or anything, but it was just like different. And I was like, oh my gosh, he is like so freaking hot.
After church, after the awkward encounter,
very awkward.
I was working a job where I had to work overnight. I worked 11 to 7 in the morning, and, you know, I could sit at a computer for most of the night. So I saw she got on Facebook, and I just messaged her being like, hey, because I couldn't say this in person.
So he Facebook messaged me.
And I said, hey, I saw you were at church. Well, how'd you like it? And
I awkwardly came up to you at church and turned around and ran away.
Yeah, and she was like, I enjoyed it, blah, blah, blah. And that, I kid you not, from that point till now, we have spoken every single day.
We talked that night until 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, and I mean, then the next night we did the same thing. I mean, we exchanged phone numbers. Via Facebook, so thank you, Facebook. But, I mean...
If you want to contact us for an ad, just let us know.
Seriously, it was so cool how it ended up coming about, because, like, the last person that I ever imagined even like becoming friends with, much less like falling in love and getting married, was her. Literally. And she feels the same way. Like, she never thought she would marry a guy like me.
Oh, we went to Cracker Barrel?
Yes.
And it wasn't really weird like when we went to Cracker Barrel, I don't think. But he rode with me, and as I was driving him back to his car, what did you tell me?
I said, can I tell you something? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, this is really weird, really weird. And it's, I've never given this compliment before. I said, but you just have a really cute mouth.
And I was like, thanks.
Let me tell you, Mr. Suave here, let me tell you something. I have never had a problem before her talking to girls. You know, I had never had a problem being friendly. I never had a problem
making conversation.
Yeah, I was never awkward or weird. And then when I'm around her, I got I didn't know what to say. I stumbled over my words. I was just like, I'm not myself around. I mean, I was myself, but I couldn't be myself.
More nervous and stuff.
Yeah. So that's kind of why I was like, there's something different and special about this girl than any other girl I've ever
Which
even
at this
spoken
point
to.
is still completely awkward because we're both like, you're Michael Tomlin, I'm Whitney Archer. I can't even believe that we're hanging out.
Yeah. I mean, still to this day, we're just like, I can't believe
Yeah,
that. It's so
randomly
weird.
we still like, you know, going on 4 years of being married, randomly we're still like, I can't believe we're married.
Like, that's so crazy.
So awkward.
But, you know, I definitely wouldn't have it any other way, though, because it's just like, because I've definitely grown and I've definitely learned a lot. We dated, so I give her this really sweet compliment, and it's really awkward. Well, speed it up. We date for like...
Speed it up not very far.
Yeah, we date like just over 2 months.
2 months and 2 days.
Yeah.
He asked me to be his girlfriend very awkwardly.
A little reenactment. So, you want to make this thing official?
Well, that was romantic.
Will you be my girlfriend?
Yes.
That's about how it went. Seriously. Then I asked her to be my wife 2 months and 2 days after we started dating. And people were like, whoa.
We started dating April 24th, 2009.
Mm-hmm.
We got engaged June 26th, 2009.
Yes. And everyone's like, that's insane, that's crazy, there's no way. Like,
We lost some friends, we lost some family members. A lot of people, whether they said it to our face or to our backs or tweeted it or whatever, you know, let us know that we were stupid for getting engaged that soon after we got married.
Yep. And
Started dating.
yeah. Well, I mean, and the way that I proposed went like this. I made up a little, not a lie, because it wasn't a lie. I really had to burn this guy's CD. But we lived about 20 minutes apart, and it was bachelorette night.
We always got bachelorette, and we always watched Bachelorette on Monday nights and ordered pizza.
Correct.
And sat in front of the TV on the floor and ate it.
Yep. And so it was bachelorette night, but I was like, wait, I have to, you know, I was like, I have to go get my CDs. The ring was at my house with the CDs, so that's why I was having to go. But she was like, oh, I cannot believe you're making me drive here for freaking CDs. This is ridiculous. And I was like, just please. And she was like, so she was so frustrated.
I was so mad. I was getting so angry.
Yeah, so
and making him feel like crap.
Yeah, well, I had the ring there, and that's what the whole point of why I needed to go there. I didn't need to get the CDs.
He was originally going to take me to San Antonio and propose to me on the Riverwalk, but he had recently gotten a new job and he wouldn't be able to take vacation, and he said he just couldn't wait anymore, so that's why he just up and decided to do it.
Yeah, I had this real elaborate plan, and then so anyways, I go and I get the CDs and we come back and we have pizza and we watch Bachelorette, and she had 3 things. She wanted it to be on video, she wanted her nails to be done, she wanted to be wearing this specific dress. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I'm like filming with my phone.
I'm not wearing this dress and my nails are not done.
Yeah. I'm filming with my phone and we're just having a fun time, and I give the phone to her and I'm like, heck, okay, I want you to film me. And she's like, okay, so she's filming me, and you can tell I'm really awkward and nervous. And I reach in my pocket and she's in her PJs, sitting on the bed, and I get on one knee and I was like, will you marry me? And she was like, what? She was like, no, you're joking. I was like, dead serious, will you marry me? She was like, for real? And I was like, yes, will you marry me? And then she was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, is that a yes? She was like, yes. And then it was a big happy time.
And then we ran to my parents' house and showed them.
Yes, and they were excited for us.
My parents only knew each other for 2 months before they got married, so.
She kind of fell in the same footsteps.
Yeah. And my parents have been married for 17 years?
I think it's close to 20
years. Seriously? 17 years. I'm almost 23. My parents have been married for, okay, well, sorry Mom and Dad, like 23 years, because my mom got pregnant with me like 2 months after they got married.
So anyways, yeah, and that's how I proposed. It was a good time for most of us. Some people were like, "Y'all are engaged?"
Haters. I mean, serious haters. And then, to shock everyone a little bit more, no, I'm not going to say that I was pregnant. We had a baby!
Actually, we got that while we were engaged.
That?
Him. The dog.
Okay, anyways, we got married September the 5th, 2009, so just a few months after we got...
About 3.5 months afterwards, we
had a destination wedding, so we were in Alabama at the time, and then we just planned a day with my parents, and we all drove down to the beach in Gulf Shores and like booked a wedding, flower people, you know, everything. And the resort that we had it at, it was like beautiful.
Yes, but we get married on the beach, and it was freaking awesome wedding. It was really awesome. Like, yeah.
We got married on the beach, and our reception was like on the veranda, like overlooking the pool and facing the beach, and there was like fireworks and everything. There was a
rainbow while we were saying our vows. I would say marriage is definitely, like, if someone asked me something about marriage, I would definitely say it's not for quitters and it's not for the weak. It's definitely for people who are strong and are in it for the long haul. Even when, like, it's literally the most impossible thing in the world, you still have to stick at it and keep going, because like there's gonna be so many hardships. Like, so many people say we're just so perfect and cute and this and that, and I'm sure we are, but we have our
and I'm sure we are perfect and cute.
But like, I mean, we have had some knockdown, drag out fights, and it's been
like,
intense.
I've even just like sat and cried before, because I'm like, it's so hard to live up to people, you know, always being like, oh my gosh, y'all are perfect and this and this and that, and like, we have a really good marriage. Like, we're not like, my parents are all the time, you know, asking like, do we even like each other, just because I'm not like all over him all the time. But I think that our you know, marriage is just like special, because we don't have to be all over each other, you know, all the time. We have a really good like friendship before anything. Like, we're just like stupid and hilarious, and just like, I mean, today we rode around for 2 hours together, and that was, you know, this weekend all we've done was ride around and shop and just be with each other, and that's what makes it fun. Like, you have to be able to be friends before you can, you know, have a marriage, because, you know, people will tell us, oh my gosh, how are y'all so perfect, or how are you so happy all the time? I mean, one thing as to how we stay happy is not posting our crap on the internet.
Yeah.
Because, you know, all that people see of us, obviously everything that we put out on the internet is real. Like, when we're being all lovey and all that kind of stuff through Twitter and all that stuff.
Kissing.
Yeah, like, that stuff is all real, but we obviously don't post pictures of us or videos of us like arguing, or like, I don't tweet when I'm pissed off at him. Like, I have people on my timeline who, you know, obviously don't have very good relationships with their significant other, and are always posting, you know, about their girlfriend or boyfriend or husband or wife or whatever. And I'm like, you know, if you would just stop doing that.
You know, because it's kind of like cheap shots to the other person. It's like, yeah, you might say that to their face, but it's like even worse when you have 50 people following you or 1,000 people following you. Like, it's still a cheap shot. It's being like, I cannot stand you, or, you know, and just like, I mean, you say these cheap shots, and it's like, hey, that's really immature.
It's bad enough when you say that to each other, but when you say that to each other on Twitter, and everyone and their dad knows, you know, that y'all are in an argument, it's a lot harder to recover from something like that than it is to just keep it between yourself. Like, because even though it's not like, oh, I'm gonna divorce you and all this stuff, it's just like, those kinds of things are things that need to be kept between you and your significant other, whether it's girlfriend and boyfriend, fiance, husband and wife, whatever. And I think that's a huge thing that keeps us, like, you know, going strong, is because we're now able to be happy even when we're mad at each other. This is one of the little flowers that were on the aisle, and I saved it, and it's all squished and, you know, like flat and stuff, but it's like the only flower that I still have. And I keep it in my wallet.
Yep, shakes it with her everywhere.
Yep.
Yep. And so, there you go. I mean, that's pretty much it. And, I mean...
If anyone has like specific questions, we would love to do like a Q&A video where, you know, we just answer y'all's questions. But that's pretty much, you know, we just celebrated being married 3 years last Wednesday, so that's pretty much where we are now.
I would say, even though we didn't have much time in dating, she's definitely become my best friend, and that's
He's mine, I guess.
And that's what we've worked on the most, is
Yeah.
just being best friends, and that's kind of where we're at now. But it's been a ride, so
Yeah.
it's been a fun ride, but it's been a ride.
Here's to, well, I don't want to say 100, because if I live to be 122 years old, I'm going to shoot myself.
Here's till the day I die. I'll say
Yeah.
that.